Hello everybody and welcome to Brony FanFics. Today, the second part of chapter 21. I apologise, I haven't uploaded in a while. Things have just been complicated and not going as I've planned them to go. But, regardless, I've managed to find time to record this bit. So yeah, hopefully we'll finish the chapter in this part, but if not, oh well. So, yeah. Crisis Equestria, Chapter 21, Part 2. With a sizzle and a pop, Twilight and TikTok suddenly blinked back into existence, in the middle of a grand circle of boulders, several dozen yards wide. The ground beneath them was not soft dirt or sand as it had been throughout the rest of this region, but solid rock, unnaturally smooth rock. Lead, Twilight finished. Oh bugger, what now? Or, well, it says now, what, but same thing. TikTok blurted as she frantically looked around them. Where are we? Where are the others? Just stay close to me, TikTok. As long as we stick together, she'll be outmatched. Twilight warned, backing herself up against the other unicorn, letting her magic begin to flow in anticipation. This is clearly Starlight Shadow's doing. We've been teleported a good distance away from our friends, and I highly doubt Insipid was able to muster up that kind of magic. Right, of course, TikTok nodded. If that's the case, though, then where is... Twilight heard a popping noise behind her and sharply turned, only to be pushed roughly into the dirt and separated from TikTok. Starlight said nothing, just grinned wickedly as she touched the hoof to TikTok's side and teleported away, bringing the surprised and swearing green unicorn with her to parts unknown. Twilight leapt at where they'd just been, only to tumble through now empty air and landed face first in the dirt. Another pop behind her drew her attention again. She hurriedly leapt into a defensive position and flared up her horn, to see Starlight standing there, looking quite pleased with herself and not at all bothered by Twilight's aggressive stance. Well now, that distraction has been removed from the equation for the moment, so I'll have plenty of time to deal with you myself, Sparkle. Pity you all kept in such close proximity this whole time. I would have just executed that insignificant pest from afar. Starlight snorted, but I could not risk blasting one of you in the process. Where is she? Twilight demanded. What did you do with her? Starlight gave a coy smile and pointed her hoof upwards, causing Twilight to follow along. Twilight's eyes widened as even from this distance, she could see a tiny green dot high up in the air, falling down, down, down. I do hope the chronomancer doesn't suffer from acrophobia. Starlight snickered. Twilight wasted no time in charging up a teleport spell of her own, focusing her mind to warp straight upwards by the distance she could best calculate given the circumstances. She popped out of the circle of stones and reappeared high in the air above TikTok and began falling herself. Hang on, TikTok, I'm coming! Twilight yelled as she tried to straighten herself to get a good view of the situation. Oi! TikTok screamed as she spun in the air a little. Bloody rotten trick that was! I swear, when I get my hooves on that maniac! Twilight righted herself and could now properly judge what was happening. She was still much too far above TikTok to be of any use, so she focused herself and teleported again, trying to get closer. To her increased panic, she found herself not gaining much distance at all, only creeping up by small increments each time. She couldn't get a solid bead of the spot she needed to be in without knowing exactly how far up they were. Really now, Sparkle, did you honestly believe I was going to make it that simple? Starlight sighed as she blinked into existence between TikTok and Twilight. If you and I are to trade positions in this predicament, the Chronomancer here would have safely reached the ground by now, unharmed and unafraid, but I suppose that it can't be helped. Not every pony has my natural aptitude for teleportation magic. Get out of my way, Starlight, Twilight yelled. Oh, I'm afraid not, Sparkle, Starlight said with a malicious smile. See, the wonder of teleportation magic is that with just a little effort one can travel anywhere they can observe, or anywhere they have physically been before. What makes the former complicated for novices like yourself, of course, is that accuracy is very critical. Twilight grit her teeth as Starlight's words resonated, the truth striking hard and reminding Twilight of all the important lessons she had to learn before even attempting her first teleport. Starlight grinned again, recognising the look on Twilight's face as one of grim realisation. Ha! You understand, don't you? Attempting to overshoot or intercept her would not accomplish much unless you warped in close enough to make up for your increasing acceleration. And if you come too close, why, you risk splicing yourself straight through her, killing her instantly. I hear such an instant creates quite a mess. Pity the Chronomancer doesn't know teleportation magic of her own, isn't it? Oh, you bloody colt sucker! TikTok laughed as she righted herself behind Starlight, aiming her horn at the other unicorn's back and charging up her magic. Starlight turned her head only slightly out of the mild annoyance more than anything, and teleported away to avoid TikTok's rapid barrage of magical bolts. Without her in the way to block or be struck by them, they all went screeching at Twilight instead, whose eyes widened in shock at how quickly it had all happened. Gah! Twilight panicked as she threw up a barrier. Watch what you're doing, TikTok! Ah, sorry, Twilight, TikTok called sheepishly. Where'd she go? Twilight blurted, looking around in the sky to try and find the other unicorn. TikTok yelled, Forget her, damn it! Just get to me already! That ground is catching up fast! I've never been much on Pancake Sparkle, understand? Twilight, while no expert of mid-air exertions herself, knew one pony that was. She frantically thought about how Rainbow Dash would fly, and considered the methods she would use to gain speed when going into one of her supersonic dives. That was it. She tucked her limbs into more aerodynamic shape. Twilight mimicked the gesture and almost immediately began to make some headway in catching up to the green unicorn. TikTok's flailing and flapping limbs were already doing a good enough job of slowing her own descent to make the two's efforts work towards a common goal. Twilight inched closer and closer, and within moments was close enough that she reached out to grab TikTok's hoof. Almost there, she breathed to herself through her grit teeth. She suddenly felt herself touched from behind, and she was whisked away instantly through a teleportation matrix again. She collapsed on the ground as Starlight pushed her to the dirt, giving a smug laugh and strutting around to put herself in front of Twilight again, who glared up at her and backed away defensively. Now then, enough of that useless business. Where were we? Starlight grinned, tapping her hoof to her chin. So y'all ready to just admit that you lost, or what? Applejack sighed. Lost? I think you misunderstand. Grayscale said, looking thoughtful. See, right now we're still technically at a draw. Pff, yeah, you're all just like Dashes. You hard-shot flyer Pegasus can't stand admitting that you lost. Applejack rolled her eyes. Sure, I don't like losing, but I haven't lost just yet. Grayscale suddenly grinned. You're not the only pony with the whole bag of tricks. Yeah, right. Applejack chuckled in disbelief. I got your wings pinned. Ain't no way y'all can... Oh, you noticed that, huh? Well, I only need them to adjust the weight of other objects. My own weight. I can do that just fine on my own. Grayscale closed her eyes in focus. Applejack looked in curious scrutiny, then panicked as she felt the dirt begin to groan in pain beneath her, as though a great weight was being pressed upon it. Grayscale began to sink into the dirt again, slowly at first, but enough that Applejack was no longer positioned quite so completely on top of her. Oh no, you don't! Applejack spat, focusing her connection with the earth and summoning more dirt beneath her to retain the position of power, sliding down with Grayscale into the hole she was digging, apparently just laying it there. Applejack continued to draw earth into herself to keep up. She suddenly realised that this meant there was less and less of it beneath Grayscale, allowing her to sink through it much easier. Well, would you look at that? Grayscale observed as she pulled away from Applejack, having gained enough speed to begin pushing aside rock and dirt away on her own. Bye! Applejack said nothing, but abandoned her hold, diving down into the tunnel Grayscale had begun to make. They both went lower and lower, passing into different strata of colours and dirt and rock. She began to notice that it was getting steadily warmer. Grayscale obviously had no qualms just sinking down, until there was nothing left to burrow through. That wouldn't end well for either of them. She assumed a diving position, rapidly pulling through the dirt to the Pegasus' position, overtaking her in the earth despite the speed she now had. She placed her front hooves on Grayscale's shoulders and put all her weight into her rear hooves, causing Grayscale to shift slightly enough that she and Applejack were both vertical. Applejack leaned backwards so that Grayscale was on top of her, focusing all of her might into connecting to the thickening earth around her. They slowed to a stop. Hey, very nice. Now we aren't going down. Grayscale sighed as dirt and rock tumbled into the uneven hole, starting to bury them. You've got me right where you want me, again. She looked up and Applejack looked with her. The end of the tunnel to the surface was nothing but a dot of light, and in a few moments it vanished. More dirt fell as the hole above them began resealing, naturally collapsing in on itself. As darkness took them both, Applejack could feel Grayscale struggling. Now was as good a time as any to try for light in the rock around them. She reached out and was surprised how easily the rocks responded, bathing both herself and the Pegasus in the soft blue light. Grayscale squinted at her. At this rate, you and me are going to be buried alive. Fair chance, Heavy. Yeah, you're right. I suppose as an apparent master of earth magic, you'd just be able to swim through dirt, wouldn't you? Me, not so lucky. With all my weight and pressure down here, good luck moving me with you. What? Just saying, well played. Once I'm dead, you've got one less opponent. I didn't think you of all your little group would be the one to start trying to kill us when you know we're not allowed to do the same to you. Dirty, I like it. Y'all can't be serious. Applejack snorted. Grayscale's dead stare. Her apparent lack of fear regarding her assumed and imminent death made the cow pony shiver for a moment. She came to a decision. Applejack clicked her tongue and focused all of her efforts on the rock surrounding them, asking it to help her do something to stop the flow of rock above them from crushing down. It complied, spreading outwards from her with great force, causing her and Grayscale to fall to the floor of a rapidly forming sphere, a pit in the earth with no entrance and no exit, still filled with faint blue light. Applejack breathed deep, took it out from the effort of forcing so much rock to move, and relenting on her hold on Grayscale, letting the Pegasus flutter away. There, y'all can't get out of here without my help, but you ain't gonna get buried. Missy, ain't no killing no pony, so relax. Grayscale stared at her again, this time with an all but unreadable scrutiny. After a moment she hummed in thought. So it would seem, but did you accomplish one thing? But it did accomplish one thing. Looks like I've got my wings back, doesn't it? Applejack smiled. Yeah, but I gathered y'all were trying to do that thing. Thing is, the earth down here is too solid for you to do much with just your force alone. Y'all can beat me around all you want, but I'll say it again. Y'all ain't getting out of here without my help. There ain't nothing here y'all can use to your advantage. Nothing, huh? Grayscale said, a slow but fierce smile playing across her face. Well, now that is a fascinating idea. Nothing. I've got to thank you. This has been a little fun. The least boring thing in a long time. Applejack shrugged confidently. Thanks, I guess. The way I see it, it had to be done. Really? Here's the way I see it. There are 3 things in this cave. You, me, and air. Yeah, and? Applejack blinked. Grayscale laughed genuinely, surprising her cowboy opponent. Well, you said I've got nothing. You were telling the truth. She flicked her wings, causing a great burst of air to blow throughout the little pit. Applejack stumbled a little at the sudden gust and found herself having trouble breathing. What the heck y'all doing? She sputtered, finding it hard to breathe all of a sudden. Check it out. Grayscale smiled, also breathing heavily. The thing about gravity is it's universal. It's not just one kind of up and down. The basic gist of my bag of tricks, making it better or worse anywhere. Her wings moved even as they were beginning to, with the rest of her body, shake from shortness of breath. Suddenly the room grew eerily quiet, completely soundless. A total vacuum. Applejack gasped silently in a panic. She clutched at her neck, noticing a layer of strangely thick and vaguely translucent stuff that looked like frost growing on her and everywhere on the surface of the impromptu dirt room. It looked like frost, yet it wasn't very cold. Tepid at best. Languid at worst. 1 second, the thought struck The thought struck her suddenly and horribly. Grayscale was essentially forcing the air itself solid. Distantly, she felt a vibration through the ground as the little sphere of rock they were in began to crack, and the sensation passed up her body with a presence made clearer from the complete absence of sound. 2 seconds. She turned to see Grayscale stomp the ground near her with her strange gauntlets, cracking the rime and sending steam sputtering before her power forced it back down. 3 seconds. She looked as bad as Applejack felt, the pressed frozen air coalescing on her coat and feathers, pointing with grim determination, first at Applejack, then straight up. 4 seconds. She visibly fought to keep her eyes from rolling back, and repeated the gesture once, and then again, shaking as she did. Applejack shut her eyes with a sorrowful realization. 5 seconds. She just told Grayscale she wasn't about to kill her. She hadn't realized the Pegasus was going to force the issue. Her resolve had not changed around them. The dirt and rocks were effectively unmoved, apart from small cracks that were already filling themselves in, responding to the Earth Plane's call immediately. The Earth was her ally still, even as the air betrayed her. She started reopening her rock eyelids, cracking the congealed air away from them. 6 seconds. Weakly, she strung together a sentence of curses that predictably died in her throat, and relaxed the new magical instinct she'd only just learned to cultivate. There was first a great hiss as the rocks around them shuffled, and then some violent and deafening explosion as the pressure changed and air and rock rushed in to fill the vacuum, and Grayscale shot upward, obliterating rocks and dirt in the vortex of sand, silt and grit. Applejack heard normal sound returning as she breathed in deeply, pain surging through her lungs. In deep gasps without really recovering, she gave chase. It was a dirty trick, she thought. She used the very soil in the wake of the vortex to, just as Grayscale had put it, swim through the earth, up and up, sailing as fast as she could after the insufferable Pegasus that could hold down the very air she breathed. I'm not doing good at reading today. Is this all you've got, Crash Master? Havoc yelled. A bunch of fancy lightning bolts and flying in circles? You're like some stupid dog chasing a stupid tail. You hear that, bitch? Whoa, hey, look out! Looks like we've got a badass over here. I see what you did there. I would have thought you'd watch the language, kid. Doesn't your dad wash your mouth with soap when you say bad words? Rainbow called back, putting on her cool face. I'm gonna kick your bucking teeth in, Rainbow Crash. You sound mad. I'm not making you mad, am I? Yo, Havoc, you mad? I'll show you mad, you bucking, muff-diving, pillow-biting filly licker. Wow, that's a new one. I honestly didn't see that coming. Ha! You kiss your pops with that mouth, kid? And shut the buck up about my dad, damn it. You'll get mare juice all over his good name. Dash whistled. Well, at least no one could call you uncreative back at the lunch table with all the other children. Keep 'em coming, kiddo. The winds around the two began to pick up as Rainbow Dash circled around and around and around again. Havoc trailing just behind her on the inside path, able to keep up but not overtake her. Her grin widened further and pride filled every fibre of her being, with just a little focus, flying at the right speed, and with Havoc unwittingly helping her. Rainbow was forming a great whirlwind high in the sky above, flickering greys and blues as her lightning trail still lingered through it. Sure, she admitted this tornado wasn't nearly as big as the one they'd had to make for Cloudsdale last year, but it was more than big enough to be a fearsome weapon in the right hooves. Her hooves. Okay, that's it. I'm bucking bored now. Havoc spat. I'm putting an end to this, Rainbow Crash. The red Pegasus slowed down as one of her Jetfire hooves shut down and was used to start launching fireballs again. To Rainbow's distress, Havoc compensated for the loss of speed by further taking the inside path to keep up. She grit her teeth and set about tightening the loops herself, forcing Havoc Ring to eventually loop around in a tiny circle and fire burst at her from the centre of the rapidly forming tornado. Rainbow's smug smile widened as she realised Havoc Wing was so focused on trying to hit her with a shot that she didn't notice the winds forming around her. Havoc Wing, can you hear me? Curacao, is that? Oh, whatever, it is. Just shut up, I'm busy. Havoc Wing spat. Curaçao's voice pleaded, Havoc, Rainbow is trying to piss me off, I know, she's doing a damn good job about it too, so just shut up, you're distracting. But Havoc Wing ignored Curaçao, effectively severing the connection, and went back to launching a volley of explosives at Rainbow's tail. Hey Fireball, I bet you're gonna wish you had some goggles in a minute, Rainbow yelled. What? Havoc yelled back over the loud wind. Speak up, dogface, I can't hit. Whoa! She yelped as she suddenly felt herself getting sucked into the winds churning around her. Guess you've kept your focus on what I was doing, not just chasing me around. Guess you should have kept your focus. Rainbow taunted. The tornado gave a loud howl, fully formed and with just a little bit of effort on Rainbow's part, fully capable of functioning without any more input from her. She used this opportunity to navigate the rushing winds until she was at the same level Havoc Wing. As the red Pegasus came around through the loop, her hooves flailing about as she tried to regain control. Rainbow bucked hard. Havoc Wing slammed it right into Rainbow's hooves, and was sent spinning uncontrollably out of the vortex and back into the normal air. She frantically tried to regain her bearings, but could barely work out where she was. Her head was spinning. She managed to somewhat regain a semblance of control several moments later, pulling up to just in time to avoid slamming into the desert sands below. It was only then Havoc noticed that she was barreling towards a solid wall of stone. In a panic, she reacted the only way she knew how. She overcharged her flames and blasted straight through it, face first. Boom! Insipid leapt aside with feline agility, only natural as she'd taken the form of a cheetah, with black fur and yellow spots instead of the other way around. As from just a few paces to her right, the rock wall burst apart and something came flying through. Havoc Wing bounced on the ground and hit the opposite side hard, crumbling the ground in a heap, her jetfire-fueled hooves dying out in the wings, twitching in pain. Havoc Wing? Fluttershy blinked, looking skyward. She smiled as the large tornado above her dissipated and saw the recognizable trail of lightning zip around in the sky. Oh, way to go, Rainbow Dash! Woohoo! She cheered. Oh wow, Havoc! Insipid blurted as she ran over to the Pegasus. Like, hey, whoa, what happened? You okay? Havoc Wing blinked a few times, her eyes rolling around her head as blood trickled all across her face. She smiled somberly at Insipid. The unicorn could see that Havoc Wing was missing a tooth. Insipid, is that you? Whoa, you look like a cat. Havoc Wing suddenly let her head fall to the ground and stopped moving entirely as unconsciousness took her. Havoc? Oh man, that's not good. You got messed up pretty bad. Insipid worriedly stepped back, looking to the sky herself and not seeing any sign of Rainbow Dash. Insipid, what has happened? Are you alright? Curaçao's voice called in her head. Insipid perked up and looked around. Curie? Oh, Curie, where are... Shh, Curaçao insisted. You don't need to speak, just think. Are you alright? Yeah. That wasn't me. That was Havoc crashing through. Havoc Wing? Nonsense. Is she alright? No. She's bleeding and junk and kind of passed out, I think. Curaçao groaned through the connection. Murder. Then we need to act quickly to get her out of there. Are you having trouble with the cream puff? No, yes? Insipid admitted, still speaking aloud to Curaçao's annoyance. Fluttershy watched with confusion as Oppenham stepped to her side in the form of a panther, ready for her next command. Fluttershy shrugged at him, as if hoping he would know what was going on. Well then, why not add to your powers and show her what you can really do? What? Havoc Wing is incapacitated, then perhaps her powers will be useful to you. She isn't using She's going to be using them, was do? Insipid bubbled. Oh! Now that's a good idea, Curie. That's why you're super genius and junk. Who are you talking to? Fluttershy raised an eyebrow. None of you like business, Fluffpuff. Rude much? Insipid rolled her eyes, returning all of her attention back to Fluttershy. Like, okay, give me a sec. I'll totally be right with you. It's gonna be super major fresh. She laid a paw on Havoc Wing's head and glowed bright red for a moment. Havoc Wing, obviously still unconscious, did not react to the gesture at all. Oh, what are you doing to her? Fluttershy asked worriedly. Don't do that. You'll hurt. Like, whatever. If Havoc, like, went and got herself beaten up by somebody, then she shouldn't expect anything less, you know? I mean, like, that was her whole shtick and junk. But, like, who cares? Where were... A loud booming noise drew Insipid's attention, and she narrowly moved out of the way to avoid Rainbow Dash blasting the ground near her with a lightning bolt. Rainbow circled around from above and came around for another pass. Insipid morphed out of her cheetah form and back into a unicorn, but still growled just as fiercely as the places above her. Figures Havoc would, like, bring her problems with her too. So unfair. Hey Flash, Crash, hey you, it's fair's fair. Like, I like didn't do squat to you, go pick on somebody else. Rainbow swooped around and landed next to the yellow Pegasus and her spirit companion. You okay there, Fluttershy? Is that head giving you any trouble? She asked worriedly. I'm doing just fine on my own, Rainbow. As Fluttershy stiffly answered. Okay, like... okay, like... 2 on 1 is totally unfair. Oh, well, it's Rainbow Dash speaking. Okay, like 2 on 1 is totally unfair odds. Insipid complained, narrowing her eyes in annoyance. Then she tapped her hoof to her head as if she'd just thought of an idea. But you know, I have 2 powers now, so that like makes me as strong as 2 ponies. So then this is a fair fight again. I don't know. Math is totally not my best subject. Celestia, does she ever shut up? Rainbow sighed with a hoof to her face. Right, so like, let's see, animal shapeshifting plus fire powers, equals... She said as she tapped her hoof to her chin, then she brightened up immensely. Oh yeah, now that's a wicked idea. Curie, I'm so glad you thought of it. Okay, so like, check it out, you feather faces. Here we go, Rainbow whispered to Fluttershy. You sure you don't want to let me handle this? I can take her by myself. I'm not backing down. Fluttershy stamped her hoof. I'm just as strong as the rest of you, and... Fine, geez, I didn't mean nothing by it, just saying. Rainbow rolled her eyes. Let's see what she's got planned, then. It can't be that. Insipid glowed a bright red and began to change. Her unicorn body warped and morphed, not just in shape, but in size as well. She grew and grew, foot by foot, yard by yard, until she stood 2 stories tall and almost as wide. Her warping figure slowly solidified into several frightening features. A massive tail that stretched out behind her, covered in spikes and pointed at the tip. A broad coal-coloured body with the 2 great legs and 2 great arms, gaudy yellow spikes trailing along her spine. A long neck ending in a great maw that opened, revealing rows of gleaming fangs. More spikes trailing up around her head. And last but not least, a grand pair of wings that snapped open with a great burst of air. As her form solidified, Insipid let out a mighty roar that terrified Fluttershy into huddling behind Rainbow Dash with Ophinim standing nearby, growling angrily at the fearsome beast that stood before them. Bad? Rainbow gulped. Insipid laughed, her voice deep and threatening, and looked down with malicious intent at the pair of ponies beneath her. Okay, so, like, I know dragons are totally extinct and junk, but they're so, like, totally scary, you know? Look at how tiny you girls are down there. Oh, like little toys. She took a brief look around herself and examined her new body, and gave a girlish squeak, quite unlike what was expected of a dragon. Oh my stars, I am totally super cool right now. Oh, and see, because I've got Havoc's needle fire powers, I can, like, totally complete the whole image too. So yeah, eat fire, dumb butts. She took in a deep breath, drawing in air from all around, as would be expected of a real dragon. She unleashed a great torrent of flames from her gullet that completely cooked the ground she was aiming at, turning sand into glass. Rainbow Dash wiped her brow and glanced behind her to make sure Fluttershy had been holding on as they raced out of the way. Like, no fair flying, Insipid stuck her tongue out. Then she brightened again. Oh, wait, no. Oh, wow, I totally forgot that dragons can fly too. Sucks for you. Insipid's great wings flapped and created a massive gust of wind that knocked Rainbow and Fluttershy out of the sky. Rainbow wasted no time regaining control and, against her typical bravado, took off as fast as she could. Insipid began to gain altitude, and when satisfied that she'd gotten the hang of flight, she took off after Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy with all the speed. Rainbow Dash looked up behind her and panicked when she saw Insipid catching up. Ah, Buck, she swore. Hang on, Fluttershy, time for some fancy flying. Fluttershy whimpered and held on tight. Rainbow Dash twirled around in a tight loop, then dove towards the ground just as Insipid let loose another torrent of fire in their direction. Insipid huffed angrily and swung her great body around to give chase. Rarity winced as Curacao spinned her against the dirt floor for the third time in the past 10 minutes. How do you keep looping around on me? She growled. Again with the silly questions, Curacao taunted as she pushed her hoof at Rarity's throat. Do not think that you can help your friends out there, Rarity. You still have to deal with me, no? And every time I deal with you, you just run away and then appear again out of nowhere. I don't like how you keep avoiding me. Oh, I don't know how you keep avoiding me. Your disguise is pathetically easy for my scrutinous eyes to pick it out. But this is getting simply ridiculous. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You shan't fool me a third time, Curacao, I swear it. Rarity latched onto Curacao again with her magic, and lifted the earth pony off of her gingerly, keeping her levitation spell as she got up and dusted herself off. She stepped up to the earth pony and glared at her. There, now. I'm not letting go this time. You're as good as mine. The question then is, whatever shall I do with you? She hummed. I say that you let me go anyway. Curacao snickered, batting Rarity's horn with her hoof. Rarity lost her focus at the pain of having her horn slapped so sharply and roughly, dropping the earth pony into the dirt before attempting to lash on again, but Curacao was too nimble to catch. Curacao gave a great laugh as she twirled and danced out of the way of Rarity's magic, without a care in the world. Stop moving around, you boorish goon! Rarity snapped. You have such pathetic skills in combat, Drowi. You call me the brute, and yet here you are, trying to make moi submit to you. Seems to me that you are the dirty and, how do you say, uncouth one, not moi. You did not just call me what I think you did, Rarity hissed. Ah, but if I am making you upset, then perhaps I will, how would Havoc put it, face you head-on, no? Curacao smirked, warping her coat again to blend in with the rocks and taking obvious steps to run. Oh, I see, so that means disguising yourself again, does it? Rarity shouted. Get back here, you... A roar from the other side of the rocks drew their attention as Insipid, in the form of a great dragon, took flight after the blazing trail of Rainbow Dash, carrying a terrified Fluttershy. Rarity's eyes widened as she began to panic, speeding along to try and keep her friends in her sights. Rarity followed as best she could within the tiny rock arena, ignoring Curacao completely. Fluttershy, hang on, darling, Curacao stuck out her hoof and tripped the unicorn as she ran by, then pinned her on her stomach. Remember, you have me to deal with. Get off of me! Rarity belted as she latched onto Curacao with her magic once again. Curacao smirked and let Rarity fling her aside, bouncing off the rock wall again before leaping back upon the unicorn, pinning her on her back. You're going to have to do better than that, Rarity. It's the same trick over and over again. Oh, so hypocritical of moi. Well, at least my tactics work, no? Enough of this, Rarity growled. I will not let you and your filthy little compine hurt my dear Fluttershy, or Rainbow Dash either. Curacao snickered. You worry too much about the others when you are the one in danger. You are lucky that the Capitan insists on non-lethal methods. I have had too many opportunities to snap your pretty neck while You were too busy watching the others. Tis tis. Rarity flared up her horn again and threw Curacao off her forcefully. To Lala's surprise, she hit the wall roughly, but quickly regained her composure in time to avoid Rarity firing rocks at her with her magic. Take this, you sneaky little charlatan! Rarity retorted sharply. Oh la la, such reckless behaviour! Curacao mocked. How barbaric! Tossing rocks like a schoolyard bully, no? Not at all ladylike, wouldn't you say? Sometimes a lady needs to get down to business, Rarity shouted back, throwing bigger and bigger rocks. And if you think I'm going to let that dirty creep hurt one hair on Fluttershy's head, you're stupider than you look. Curacao laughed loudly. Oh la la, the sting of your tongue grows ashen by the second, no? How primitive. This is ridiculous, Velvet shouted incredulously as Pinkie rolled aside to avoid a slamming a blade into the dirt. Where the bucking hell did you learn how to fight? Haven't you heard? Pinkie asked, cracking her neck and standing cockily several paces away. Fighting is magic. Now, I'll say it again, show me your hooves. Oh, I'll show you my hooves all right. Velvet raged, coating herself in her own blood and growing spikes out of it to form a suit of armour. I'll show you my hooves when I shove them down your stupid throat. Maybe then you'll stop asking me. Velvet charged in, rage overtaking her as she flailed blades and spikes wildly, purposely missing with some just to throw Pinkie off her timing. Pinkie yelled as she started going on the defensive once again, barely avoiding several attacks and taking steps to avoid whatever she could. Velvet's grim whine as she caught an opening and sliced at Pinkie's shoulder, only to find Pinkie blocked it with her leg. Velvet depanned. What? Duh, it's called a block, Red. Pinkie rolled her eyes. I can't spend the whole battle dodging, that's predictable. You gotta mix it up. Pretty soon. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up! Velvet screamed. I'm gonna rip you apart, limb from limb. Not with that technique you won't, Pinkie said with a cocky laugh. You're still just a button-mashing scrub, Red. Pinkie punched Velvet again and knocked her aside from leaping back, gaining herself some breathing room. Velvet rubbed her nose and glared daggers at the other pink Earth pony. The two began stalking around in a circle, eyeing each other fiercely. Velvet growled, This makes no sense. How do you still have so much damn joy? Because I'm winning, duh. Pinkie grinned. You barely laid a hoof, or blade, or whatever on me this whole round. I'm not about to fall for that same trick you did last time. You are not winning! I'm still completely fueled with power, Velvet snapped. I have fear in you. I can still taste it. But it's not weakening you. How is that possible? Well, like I said before, of course I'm afraid for my friends, but I'm not worried about you going to them anymore. Not as long as I'm here to stand in your way. That gives me an advantage over you. You don't scare me anymore. Red, and you never will, ever again. We'll just see about that. I'm still full of surprises. Velvet charged in again, tendrils lashing out around her. Pinkie leapt aside to dodge a swipe from a blade, only to find Velvet flinging splatters of blood in that direction. The blood became like tiny thrown blades that Pinkie had to block as quickly as possible. She only just barely managed to avoid taking some of them to the face. Velvet capitalized on Pinkie's immobility and pounced on her. Blades and spikes spread too far out to be avoided. That didn't stop Pinkie from trying, but she was caught by several strikes and knocked to the ground. Velvet grabbed her with a tendril and threw her the nearest wall, splitting it apart with incredible force. Ha! Velvet cackled as she sprinted towards the impact site. Pinkie suddenly burst out of the rubble, glowing a bright blue. Who was poised to strike. She charged Velvet with blinding speed. She blurted, What the? Pinkie stopped in her tracks, mere inches from Velvet's face, and the blue glow exploded into a flash of white as Pinkie drew her hoof back and prepared to an attack. As the flash of light cleared, Pinkie was left shining with a pure white aura, and the very air around them grew thick, coloured a bright blue, with the ground of rock surrounding them suddenly nowhere in sight. Henshin a go-go, baby! Pinkie yelled. Velvet found herself immobilized, and instantly was set upon by Pinkie, who rapidly punched the 4 with hooves made of fire, 9 moving as an 13 untrackable blur of pink and blue and white and gold. She could feel every 18, single, 19 punch, 20, I believe this was like a combo counter going up. Strike her with an incredible amount of force, 23. Enough to knock the wind out of her, 29. Faster than she could breathe it back in, as if dozens, 35, were being thrown all out at once. Her body began to be forced back, 39, by the impacts until she hit the wall, 45, where she remained pressed, 49, as the punches, 54, continued their barrage and actually started to push her straight through the solid rock, 59, at an excruciatingly slow and painful pace. Suddenly Pinkie stopped punching and levelled her hoof behind her. Velvet attempted to avoid whatever was coming next, but couldn't find herself still locked firmly in place and unable to move on her own. "Shoryuken!" Pinkie yelled. 60. Amazing! Velvet was treated to a full-force uppercut to the chin, an uppercut made of fire. Then she was sent flying into the air like a rocket, with a noise that sounded like a cracking glass. She again attempted to do something, anything, but again found that she couldn't move her body. Time felt like it had been slowed down for her, and despite feeling like she'd been sent into the air, she didn't seem to be actually moving very fast at all. In fact, she seemed to actually be trapped in a vacuum of sorts, surrounded by a shining blue technicolor background that whizzed past her like walls of the tunnel. Party Pony Palooza! Pinkie Pie, to Velvet's astonishment, was upon her again in the middle of the void, glowing a bright gold. She approached with blinding speed. She literally flew by. She delivered a fantastic punch, 444 critical, that exploded with fireworks when zooming past it. Then coming around again with the same speed as before, delivering another fierce blow, 444 critical, that always exploded in multicolored sparks before speeding away. Pinkie came by again, 444 critical, and again 444 critical, and again 444 critical. She tumbled through the void again and looked on in shock as Pinkie dive-bombed her from above. "Pinkie!" the other Earth Pony yelled, her face alight with powerful excitement, with its eyes wide as Pinkie's cocked hoof exploded into a burst of flames. "Punch!" The technicolor background shattered away in a prism of light, and Velvet was sent rocketing into the ground from only just a few feet above, with enough force that the impact created a massive crater and sent the debris scattering about for dozens upon dozens of yards in all directions. She groaned as she tried to move again, but rather than finding that she couldn't because of some unseen force keeping her still, it was because of all her energy being completely drained. "What just happened?" Velvet muttered to herself before passing out. Pinkie Pie soon landed near Velvet, nimbly landing on all four hooves, and delivered a flourish of flamboyant poses as confetti sprayed around her in triumph. "K.O. Pinkie Pie wins!" Velvet suddenly found herself awake, filled to the brim of energy again. She shot upright in an instant and looked around frantically to see that Pinkie, again, had recovered any damage to herself and to her clothes, and that the arena was back to normal. This, of course, included the massive crater she thought she'd just crawled out of. "Good match, Red," Pinkie snickered as she got herself back into the ready stance. "But now you see why I'm not just top tier. I'm downright broken." "Oh, I'm going to break you all right," Velvet seethed. "I'm going to make you regret whatever it is you did to bring me back to full. Round 3. Ready? Fight!" "This is total crap!" Rainbow swore as she rolled out of the way of another blast of fire that was sent past herself and Fluttershy. "She can combine powers too? Oh, did she have to pick a dragon?" Fluttershy wailed as she clung on tightly to Rainbow Dash. Like, run, 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 as fast as you can, instantly boomed from behind them. "I'll catch you, 'cause I'm, like, the dragon-bred pony?" Gag me. How does Havoc, make all those rhymes? She looked intently at Rainbow and Fluttershy. "Do you guys rhyme too? I guess it's like a Pegasus thing." "Oh, buck off!" Rainbow practically spat the words. "Okay, so not fresh. Major rude mouth." She brightened with a sudden idea that made an expression made terrifying on her newly draconian features. Oh, I've got a mouth, and it can be just as rude to. Fluttershy couldn't stop herself. "Deal with your attitude?" Shut up, that's totally a good one. Insippid clapped her claws for a moment, all but forgetting the two Pegasi. She blinked suddenly, staring at the considerably widened gap between them. Oh, you cheaters! Another torrent of flame was just narrowly avoided by Rainbow Dash's swift flying. But she was beginning to tire out, carrying another pony. Come on, Fluttershy, we've got to fight back if we're going to beat her. Rainbow shouted at the Pegasus, grasping desperately to her rear hooves. Get your pet to distract her or something, so I can hit her where it hurts. If you want us to think you can handle this kind of stuff, then you've got to show us. Okay, Fluttershy squeaked. Here goes. Okay, I've got to go. Yeah, that's that. So yeah, unfortunately we'll have to make a part 3. I don't know when that'll be, but hopefully soon. Okay, I gotta go. Keep on spreading the magic of friendship, and I'll see you next time. Boop.